Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
So, when it walks like a duck, when it quacks like a duck, I mean, to have people like Lieberman and of course, Rahm Emanuel, who just resigned from his House seat yesterday to go work at the White House. When you have all these folks who clearly, serve Israel first, it's a terrible thing to our nation's sovereignty. And it's terrible because our country is hated. Our country is demonized worldwide and associated with the bullying activities that are going on right now in Israel. And then that is all signed on to our name. And, I understand this is tribal warfare. I understand that the globalists need this as a distraction, as a diversion, that Israel itself is a set piece set up by the Rothschilds, by the British, as part of the great game, kind of a giant aircraft carrier in the Middle East is basically what it is. And I understand that upwards of 50% of folks in Israel are also against what's happening, but they live in a police state. Israel is not really a democracy in the true sense of the word. Neither is Russia. And neither is the United States. I mean, when you have 90% of the American people against open borders, but they stay open, or 80% against the war, but the war continues, or 98% against NAFTA and GATT, but it continues. That's not freedom. The elite goes and selects and promotes the candidates they want. But look, I'm already digressing. The point here is that in our name, 1.5 million Iraqis have been killed in 5.5 years, and 1.5 million before that in the first 13 years of the siege and rolling bombardments of Iraq's water treatment plants, power facilities. And Iraq is now being euthanized. The whole eugenics program is being run against them. They're only allowed by law, and you're arrested if you're caught saving your seeds. The old heirloom seeds, 1,000-year-old, 2,000-year-old varieties. The U.S. Army and Marines, and this has been on the news, they go in and they cut down the date orchards, the fig orchards, the olive orchards, the tangerine orchards. They are all cut down. Huge construction teams, engineer teams go in and they cut everything down. Now, why do they say that? All along the Tigris-Euphrates for 800 miles. Why do they do that? They say terrorists can hide in the vegetation. Now imagine, and especially in the Middle East where things are very arid, very dry, especially in Iraq where they only have greenery along those rivers, the United States went in with contractors and giant engineering bulldozers and destroyed it all. And then they came in and said, here is seed you have to buy from one company, Monsanto, and the law says it's the law. This is on record. This is Associated Press. Google it. Iraqi law, only GMO crops can be planted, which then don't produce seeds that can grow again. You got to buy it from them. Total military domination, where they can't even have their own plants. Again, it goes back to the Bob Dylan song. Someday growing your own garden is going to be against the law. Yeah, they're going to grow their corn on the moon and eat it raw. So now 1.5 million are dead. They have typhus, they have cholera, they have all the stuff coming back. They're forcing inoculations. The people are on starvation level. If they want to get a stipend of Iraqi money to be able to buy food to live that's overpriced, so even though the globalists give them money, that money goes right back in the globalists' hands, they have to take inoculations because you have to get a national ID card that has your thumbprint, your face scan. I mean, those people are what we're going to be living under. I want you to understand that. Wherever the New World Order has a captive population, you see what they're going to do to everybody else. Foster children in the United States, 67% on average sourced. The federal government on that. You can pull it up. With Department of Health and Human Services, 67% of U.S. foster children, because the feds pay bounties to put them on the drugs. That's why the foster parents put the kids on drugs. They get more money. Are on psychotropics, and on average, they're on 7. You're like, what's that to do with Iraqis and bulldozing their ancient trees, their ancient food sources? Imagine, I mean, they love those trees. A lot of them just commit suicide en masse. They've had over 200,000 Indians commit suicide the last 3 months because GMO cotton came in and then killed their cows that they fed the cotton seeds to, which they've always done for thousands of years. That's all they had. They were already subsistence. They went and committed suicide with the BT poison that they've been sold to spray on the cotton. They just drink a cup of it. See, it's the same thing. When they get you captive, they drug you, they hurt you, they attack you, they want to dehumanize you. All right, we're going to come back, get to your phone calls, and get into a bunch of other news on the economy. Stay with us. Continuing with open phones, I would like to hear from listeners. I mean, you can bring up any subject you'd like. We don't screen your calls. That's kind of the fun of it. You never know what's coming up next, what issue, what item, what direction a caller will take us in as we spin the wheel of fortune. But wide open phones for the next 3 hours that we have left in this transmission. What do you think the biggest story of 2008 has been? And that can be the biggest hyped media story or the biggest underreported story. And what do you see happening in 2009? What are your predictions for 2009? You know, that's the big reason I canceled guests today. We had some guests. I canceled them because I've been wanting to have some shows this week where it's just callers in the news. Let's go ahead and go to Steve in New York. Steve, thanks for holding.
Hey, Alex. It's great to hear from you. I listen to you quite often, as much as I can. You're a real rebel. I love it. I got 3 quick questions. How are you trying to, I guess, get your message to the deaf? I have a deaf member in my family, and, you know, I try my best, but, you know, for them to go onto the internet or anything is... They can't listen to your show.
Well, I mean, the deaf generally, for some reason, have higher IQs and are really smart together.
Very stubborn.
Competent people. I mean, at least, I guess I've worked in and around hearing impaired folks that are in the business world, so I guess maybe that's a bad sample. But they seem like really neat people to me. We have listeners from time to time that create transcripts of interviews.
Yeah.
I don't have the funds to hire a transcript outfit because, you know, an hour-long interview with an inexpensive place would cost a few $100s. If somebody wants to give us an endowment, I would spend 100% of it on a transcript company to transcribe the entire show every day if enough money came in, or just the guest. Or if listeners want to volunteer, which they have done from time to time, and we're very thankful for that, and then email us the transcript of the interviews. We post those. We have a lot of news articles and a lot of stories we write, or other alternative commentary and analysis that we carry. But we're not a big organization. You know, that's one way government wants to shut down the free internet, is make every website have the software installed that automatically transcribes everything, and that can be very expensive. And then you've got to go through the regulators, and then that will shut us down. And so that's being done by the big boys to try to stifle things. They're throwing a whole bunch at the internet right now to try to shut down the small operators. I mean,
what about closed captioning in your movies?
Well, I mean, here's another issue. I barely have the time and the energy. You know, I was here till 11:15 last night. I'm not whining. It's a passion. But I was here till 11:15 working on the Obama film. And it's myself, Aaron Dykes, and Rob Jacobson. And Rob and Aaron have some other jobs up here. videos we upload for the PrisonPlanet.tv members and other things. And we bring in a nice fellow named Michael McWhorter for some of the graphics. And he's part-time, so, because I can't afford him full-time. So I would love to go out and say have it in Spanish or German, other languages, or Chinese. But again, it comes down to who we are, sir. We're a small organization that produces the amount of work that 200, 300 people would do in a major Hollywood operation. So that's why that's why I have sponsors. That's why I sell the books and videos, so we can try to have enough money to up our game. But we're trying to up our game even in the middle of a recession going into depression. So I appreciate your call. We need money.